I think the pressure on the Knicks, like it's important to remember, they dropped 2 games at home to the Detroit Pistons in round 1. They're 1-1 at home in this series, including getting waxed in game 3. Sometimes that Madison Square Garden pressure can be pretty damn suffocating. I'm not saying the Celtics are going to win the series or going to win game 6. I'm simply saying it wouldn't shock me. And here's the tactical difference where Joe Mazzulla, who was getting worked by Tom Thibodeau in this series from a coaching standpoint. Like for one, this playoff thing, when they've allowed more physicality in it, you can see Rick Carlisle work the coach of the year. You can see Joe Mazzulla getting worked by Tom Thibodeau. You can see a lot of these tactical changes in real time because players can't get to their spots so easily. They're not just chess pieces now. There's some real maneuvering you got to do to get there. But here's what Joe Mazzulla did well yesterday. Karl Towns, you're in every screen. Every single pick and roll, we're going to involve you and we're going to ask you to make a decision. Are you going to play up to the level of the screen no matter who it is? Or are you going to let Jaylen Brown walk into an 18-footer? Jalen Brunson, guess what? You're not going to rest on defense either. We're going to put the 2 worst defenders at the front of the line, at the back of the line. We're going to put you in every single action and see if you can do things perfectly. And watch and look at what happened. 22 threes, I believe, last night. Almost 50%. I'm not saying that's a formula that you can just repeat in a game 6 on the road. I am saying that is a wrinkle in a way, and even messing around with your mindset a little bit, even just messing with your head just a little bit tactically, where Jalen Brunson, a few of those fouls were called because he was out of position defensively because they were picking on him. All right, cool. You're not going to just score 30 and get 10 assists and rest on defense, even if your matchup isn't, Dan, like offensively aggressive. We're going to involve you in places, going to force you to make decisions and take away energy. And that's one of the reasons why he got those 5 fouls yesterday, in addition to Karl doing what Karl does, which is sometimes have the silly fouls and then have the silly look on his face like, why me?
He's got a lot of weird faces. I just go back to the Knicks weren't making their shots. Looking at it, Bridges was 4 for 14. Karl-Anthony Towns only took 11 shots, and he talked about it after the game how it kind of seems like the game plan is to have him kind of floating and not being like having him more down in the post trying to generate fouls, where like, is that really Karl's game? Like he needs to be the in and out. He needs to be a pick and pop guy and get shots up, and he needs to get more than 3 3-point attempts. Like he's one of the best shooters ever at his size. So like get him some looks. So I think that this was maybe just an assessment. I mean, I don't want to call it an assessment game, but like, because Knicks had the opportunity to get this thing over with, and they failed to do that. But I think it did give Thibodeau some extra film on like, hey, how are they going to play without Tatum? What can we do other than make shots to kind of deal with the fact that, this team isn't going away and they're not going to go down quietly, because, I mean, they're the champs and they still have a very good roster. I think I would feel better about Boston if we knew what Kristaps Porzingis could actually give them. And the fact that he didn't come out in the second half and got benched for Cornette, he's not the same person. And I think that's the X factor that they need to get this done and potentially even go to the final. Like, they're not going to go past the Pacers if Porzingis keeps playing this way. So I don't know. We'll see how this transpires, but I got Knicks in 6 here.
See, I like to have fun. And I know people listen to us because they like to have a little fun. For one, if you're Karl Towns, you cannot allow yourself to be guarded on the block by 6'4" Jrue Holiday. And I know Jrue Holiday is one of the best defenders this league has to offer. You cannot allow yourself to be essentially punked by Jrue Holiday. That can't happen. Secondarily, do you know how funny it would be if the New York Knicks, who had everything waiting for them with a 3-1 lead, and the Indiana Pacers, not the Cleveland Cavaliers waiting on them in the Eastern Conference Finals, if they blew a 3-1 lead, you know what that would rank in the annals of NBA history? Like, it'd be like Doc Rivers, he's got his own monument of 3-1 leads, right? Like, he himself is the Mount Rushmore.
Right.
Of
He's Mr. 3-1.
Yeah, legit, right? So when I think of 3-1, and two of them are Doc specials, right? I think of the Clippers blowing it to the Rockets in 2015, the Josh Smith special, right? Where Kevin McHale pulls James Harden. Basically, it's like game over. And Josh Smith starts raining threes out of nowhere, right? This is 2003, Orlando Magic, up 3-1 against the Detroit Pistons. Rick Carlisle, who we're going to talk about later. Oh, let me put in Tayshaun Prince instead of old-ass Michael Curry, and let's give Tracy McGrady some problems, right?
Yeah.
That's a 3-1. Like, it takes, once again, two Doc Rivers examples. I hate to say it like that, right?
Is what it is.
Yeah, like the Houston Rockets of 95 when they came back from 3-1 down from the Phoenix Suns, right? But that was Hakeem and that was Clyde. And they were both healthy, and they were probably the better team even though Houston was a 6 seed. Like, there are instances in which it happens, but there are clear explanations on the back end of it. Even the Miami Heat New York Knicks in 97 where P.J. Brown and Charlie Ward get into a wrestling match at the end of Game 5, and there's so many New York Knicks suspended, Dan, they had to be suspended in alphabetical order, which put the Heat at a greater advantage, right? Like, all of these situations that I made, and clearly there are more, where there is an example, there is a inflection point. There's an inflection point of it, and like, oh, this is the reason why this thing has happened. Can you imagine if the New York Knicks just choke on applesauce? Or the inflection point is Jayson Tatum's Achilles?
Oof. I mean, they'd probably have some soul searching too, man. Like 2 second-round exits when you mortgage that much of your roster, your franchise into Mikal Bridges. Hey, I wouldn't be surprised that they're going to be making some calls, and the superstar is available now.
They better be making some calls any damn way.
Yeah. Well, if they can get to the championship, I don't know that they necessarily need to, because I think that they built their team to stop the Boston Celtics. So if they can't get past them without one of those two guys that they was trying to stop, that's not going to look good. But
No, you are not continuing your point, because I'm going to ask you this, because I know everybody else is like, wait, Vinnie ain't going to let that slide. No, he's not. So you mean to tell me here on Al Gore's internet that if the New York Knicks make the Eastern Conference Finals or NBA Finals, that there's a big whale out there named Giannis Antetokounmpo. And Giannis, if I'm Giannis, I would want to stay in the East, because the West got a whole bunch of white whales over there, right? So you mean to tell me, I'm not saying that the Knicks would have the assets to do it, because you gave up all your first-round capital. I think you have 2 future first-round picks over the next 3 years. Like, you don't even have your own, clearly, as virtue of this trade.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that you wouldn't try to figure out a way, because you happen to luck or maneuver or whatever it is your way into the NBA Finals, you wouldn't try to go after Giannis Antetokounmpo? You'd be like, let's just run it back. That's what you. I'm treating you like a hostile witness, Mr. Titus. Tell me.
If they go to the NBA championship, I don't think that they need to I think they need to run it back again, because you got a grace period with Jayson Tatum being out. The Boston Celtics aren't the same. The Cleveland Cavaliers are deep in financial trouble right now. And if they want to run it back, it's going to be very expensive. They're going to lose assets. So your biggest threat to me right now is probably the Indiana Pacers. Why not run that back? Assuming you just beat them or you get to the Eastern Conference Finals. To me, there's chemistry that I think, I get big star hunting when it makes sense for the team. And I think that the way that the New York Knicks have been built, yeah, you could insert Giannis in there and they probably get just as far. But I think that they got something tighter than that I don't know that putting Giannis into that equation and losing the depth that they already really don't have that much of necessarily makes them better for the long term. Now, I'm not saying they're not going to put in a call. I just don't know what it's going to take for them to get it done. But I don't know. Like, I feel like, I don't know, luck is breaking their way, man. Like, so I wouldn't mess with the juju. Like, this is their path right now. If they don't get it done now, then they're going to make some calls. But if they get there, they're not going to make the calls. I don't think they're going to get it done.
All right. The single most significant personnel move of the last 30 years in the NBA. And I'm not overstating this when I say this, because it started the domino effect of what was to come. The single most significant personnel move. It was not Kevin Durant going to Golden State. It was not LeBron James going to Miami. It was the Boston Celtics
Ray Allen
in 2007 come together. And here's why they came together. The Cleveland Cavaliers of LeBron James and nobody else made the NBA Finals in 2007. When I say nobody else, go look at that roster. And LeBron was 23. I guarantee you, the Boston Celtics and Danny Ainge and Doc Rivers at that time, who wanted the number 1 pick, who wanted to be able to draft Greg Oden or Kevin Durant and couldn't, they wanted to slide down to number 5 in the lottery. We got to pivot. So what they did was you had Paul Pierce, you had a number 5 pick, you flipped that to Jeff Green for Ray Allen, and then you get the full poo-poo platter for Kevin Garnett. That doesn't happen if there isn't a gulf at the top of the Eastern Conference for a team to come in and say, you know what? There's nobody at the top right now but the New York Knicks and Indiana Pacers, and there's a disgruntled star at the age of 30 who is a top 2, top 3 player. Let me go get him. And everything from that, everything from the Celtics making that move in 2007 birthed the Miami Heat, which birthed the Cleveland Cavaliers, which birthed the Golden State Warriors. Everything came from that. And there's another opportunity to shake the world. And if I'm the New York Knicks, I am not getting drunk off of anything that happens this spring. Look, there's a scene from one of my favorite movies, Friday After Next. Everything must go. Maybe even you.